you want to do it with me?
Yeah. So which arm?
We'll do this. Ready? Hi, it is Carol here. Okay, it's gonna be beautiful. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You went too fast. 1, 2, 3, then go.
Okay, ready.
1, 2, 3. Hi, it is Carol here from Thatirishschoolhouse. Welcome to my channel. I am here again with my friend Heather, who has been homeschooled and is normal. And so I am
pretty normal.
Pretty normal. And so I'm asking her a few questions, and as we were chit-chatting, I realized that she used a particular curriculum that I had not a huge amount of experience with, so I asked her if she could maybe share with us a little bit of her experience and the pros and cons of it. So if you can just let us know what the curriculum is and the pros and cons.
Definitely. So for 4 years, so from 3rd year to 6th year, we used ACE. So for my 1st and 2nd year of secondary school, we used Abeka, which was great. It's an actual Christian school in Florida, and they have a camera at the back of the classroom, so what you would do is watch the classroom and then do the homework. But from years 3rd to 6th year, we used ACE, and then also my 3 younger siblings used ACE as well all the way through. And yeah, overall it was a great curriculum.
Okay.
I really appreciated how flexible it was. So for each subject, they would divide it into 12 paces, they're called. And you would use, that would be enough material to get you through the year.
Would a pace be a subject, or would it be like a 6-week
Each
block?
subject, say English, would be divided into 12 sections.
Like months?
Called a pace. And that would be the year. So yeah, you would be
So would you do it in a calendar year, or would you be doing it in a school year?
We were able to do it in a school year.
Okay.
But again, it's
Up to
not based on any school
But
year.
it was
so
doable to do within the 9 months rather than
It was.
over 12 months.
It was.
Perfect.
And another good thing about having it split into 12 sections like that, they really wanted you to understand the material. So if you didn't grasp, it's maybe math might have been a bit of a difficulty for me at some stages. So if you really didn't understand the material, they would have you do that section again. So at the end of each pace, there was a test, and if you got below a certain grade, they would ask you to redo all the material.
Okay, so it was quite grade focused and assessment focused, continuous assessment style.
It would be, and I think the idea is that you don't get left behind if you don't understand it. They really want you to understand it, which I feel like in school that could be a danger. You don't want to slow the whole class down, so you just have to move
keep
along.
up. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, and so when you say that there was assessments, how was it done?
It was, so I would do the material, and then the principal, who's also my mother, would bring me the test. She would bring me the test, so she always kept and she was very fair and very so she would bring me the test, and she kept the score keys as well.
Okay.
And so I would take the test, she would grade it, and if I got below 80%, you would have to redo it, redo the test. And another thing I appreciated about ACE is it's very much focused on setting your own goals. So actually they gave you a goal chart, I believe it was called. And at the beginning of every week, and I think daily, you would set your own goals for what material you wanted to cover. So I would look through all of my paces, and I would, I want to do 6 pages in math, I want to do 8 pages in English, and yeah, I would set my own goals. And actually, I think I still do that at work. I always have a notepad on my desk at work, and I list out everything I need to do that day and also for the week.
Wonderful.
And I think it
came from that. So with specifically the ACE curriculum, do you think that any of the subjects were maybe lacking or were quite advanced and were really helpful in that way? Or do you think they were all pretty standard?
I would say standard overall. For me, I think I would have benefited from a little bit more explanation in math and science, just because it was more reading based.
Okay.
And it didn't always click for me. And also we noticed in the English curriculum, even though it was great, one thing they could have focused on more was writing and writing papers, because then when we got to college, It
a
depends
lot.
on the course, but there can be a lot of papers.
And so when your mom realized that there was a lack in the homeschool curriculum, how did she supplement?
So one thing we did that was really beneficial was we had a friend at church who was a college English professor.
Oh, cool.
So it was perfect. So she actually gave me writing assignments, and then
Which I bet you loved.
I did love them. But because I still remember what they're about. One was about like the history of fashion in the 20th century.
Oh, cool.
One was on a Charles Dickens book.
And
then she went through it and gave me good feedback.
Yeah.
So yeah, a minor thing, but that you can fix easily.
And I think that that's, again, another joy about being homeschooled is that it's your mom who recognizes where there's a lack and where you need a little bit of extra. And they're the ones who then can say, well, actually, I know this person or I know this thing, and let me just get that. And so it can be really quickly recognized that there is a failing or something that needs to be put in, and so you're not waiting that 2-3 years and the parents not even realizing that, oh, my child is having difficulty in math. Like, as a mom or a dad who is there on the ground teaching their child, or as a principal doing the tests or teaching them, you can tell what stage your child is at, and you can chop and change as is necessary. Are there any cons? It sounds like a great curriculum.
I would say, yeah, overall, definitely a great curriculum. One thing I sometimes felt like it was more on memorization because of the continuous assessment.
Okay.
You could memorize just for the test, or that, maybe that would be a temptation. So maybe a little bit more challenging, a little bit more critical thinking would have been helpful. But yeah, overall, great.
And that again, I suppose, is an aspect that I, as a homeschooling mom, I'm trying to step away from the notion that you memorize just to pass the test. And so it is important to flag up these things so that we kind of know what the vibe is, because I know that that's something that is important to a lot of homeschooling moms. So the ACE, did your parents have to get a second packet for your sister and then the third packet for your brother, or did just one packet do all of you?
You did have to get a different packet per child,
So
because it is a lot of writing in, and they do update it. So you want to make sure you're using the most up-to-date version.
Okay. Would you homeschool your children?
Oh, that's a good question.
Would you like another good one?
Well, I was in the position where I got to go to a normal primary school for 8 years and then be homeschooled for 6 years and then go to a university for 4 years. So I think I was able to see the pros and cons of both. And I do think there's pros and cons in both. But for me, I really enjoyed my time homeschooling. And for me personally, I think it was the right decision. And even looking at my 3 younger siblings, I think you get to pursue your own interests more and maybe be yourself a bit more, not worry about what your friends are saying. So yes, I would definitely consider homeschooling, but I do see the pros and cons of both.
Thank you. Do you think that your relationship with your parents is any different because you were homeschooled? I'm specifically thinking because you are around them a lot more. Like, I'm around my kids a lot. I keep telling them I love them, but they don't want to hug me anymore. So I'm just wondering, as opposed to friends at the time or people who you might be seeing in school, do you think that your relationship with your parents is different because you spent so much time with them?
I do think so. I think as a family, we're very, very close and have a lot of the same interests. And I do think that's a lot down to homeschooling. And it was actually one of the reasons my parents became interested in homeschooling was because we kind of tried it for 6 months. And they've said it was one of the best times for us as a family. And that's what kind of changed their hearts about homeschooling. So yeah, definitely.
And I feel that too. I feel so connected with my children when we've done something and suddenly my son comes out with a sentence or can read something that he wasn't able to do a few months ago. And the pride that you get and the joy that you get, or even being able to go out and do family things at a time when no one else is around. You're more engaged. You know that everything is a learning experience. And so even going to the park is so much more rich, because it's not just going to the park and playing in the playground while mom looks at her phone. It is picking up leaves, counting sticks, taking things home to do arts and crafts with, checking out what the season is, what the weather is, and talking about gravity, and we were doing oranges rolling down a hill and stuff like that, which is so simple, but it's so rich because because you know that life is all about education, and education in real life is what homeschool is about, and you're kind of more aware. And so I love that aspect of homeschooling. Well, thank you very much, Heather. It's been such a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Do you want to say bye? Bye. Perfect. I looked a bit compared to you move forward. I'll move back. I've lost 10 pounds.
Hollywood.
I know.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Okay. But now I look taller.
Actually, my question, I'll be like this. And then I'll be like this.